The news broke the other day that Cadillac has finally been announced as the 11th team on the Formula 1 grid for 2026. This has many people excited and happy. This new team entering the pinnacle of motorsport definitely has some benefits, but there are also some huge downsides. Let's compile a list of the ups and downsides of having Cadillac on the grid. I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. Let's recap everything that happened before the deal was done. It wasn't easy at all, you know. Michael Andretti announced in 2021 that he intended to start a new F1 team. He was already successful in IndyCar, but wanted to expand. This didn't make the other teams happy, as they didn't want to dilute the prize money. In 2022, GM, General Motors, got involved, and Andretti kept shouting that it would bring another engine manufacturer to the sport, which is what F1 always wanted. The 10 teams on the grid still blocked the idea of an 11th team and wanted the buy-in to be bigger, since F1 had become very profitable after the cost cap was introduced. In 2023, Andretti got everyone's favorite person in F1, Mohammed Ben Suayem, involved, and he had backing from the big names in the industry. Later that year, GM was officially announced, and they would provide technical and financial backing. The teams on the grid still had concerns about the pot. Later that year, the bid to join was approved by the FIA, but that didn't mean it was going to happen. The FOM disapproved of the bid as they felt Andretti wouldn't be competitive off the bat. I think they just didn't like Andretti, but that's just me. They did leave an option open for Cadillac and GM, with Andretti more in the background. In 2024, it started to look like agreement could be made and things were looking up, but nothing official yet. This year, negotiations have been going on, and finally last week, it got the green light. Formula 1 has more than 10 teams on the grid for the first time since 2014. Cool, right? Well, no. Do you want the good news or the bad news first? Well, let's start with the good news. Well, the upsides are pretty obvious. 20 drivers for one series is very little, and it's not enough for the talent to come through. With 22 grid positions to fill, we can have more talent, and maybe then F2 talents don't have to waste away like Felipe Drogovic and Theo Porcher. So that's a huge upside that I'm happy about. Another thing I'm happy about is seeing another team with their own identity and colors on the grid. Hopefully with some interesting people in the team. They will create some amazing stories to follow. I love seeing weird characters when I'm watching F1 or F1 related content, as I'm one for the drama and the intrigue. I'm expecting Cadillac to be a fully American team with all the loudness and bombastic attitude that comes with it. It will cause quite a ruckus, as F1 is a little bit elitist, and those pommies that rule the sport don't like changes. Those differences in style will most definitely clash, and I'm all here for it. Another benefit is for F1 itself. I think the sport will become stronger in the long term with more teams. It's been a while since we had a financial crisis, and if we have one now and one team drops off due to money problems, we'll still have 10 left. These things have happened in the past, and I'm sure they will happen again, as history always seems to repeat itself. Another engine being built from 2028 by a manufacturer is also great. Let's see how they do with their approach and technical knowledge. Will they be a success, or will they crash and burn after a massive period of hype? We'll find out in a few years. An 11th team adds another narrative, and it will add value to the story of Formula 1. As you can tell, I'm not a hater or a negative guy in general. I see a lot of positives from this deal, and I have one more positive to mention, but this will come after the negative stuff. This is a cliffhanger. Right, okay, brace yourselves. Here are the downsides. Let's start with the FIA, who were very keen on getting one more team to scrutinize badly. I think good old Ben Suayem made this a project of his own to gain something from it, as he lobbied hard for it. He'll have a big ally in Cadillac, no doubt. He will need this when he wants to be re-elected this season. He probably will be, as he's a politician through and through. Anyway, the FIA itself is not in a good place, seeing all the weird events that have taken place in recent years. If you thought they did a poor job with 20 cars on track, wait until you see them with 22 cars on track. Track limits are being monitored so badly that times are deleted and reinstated. They will have to do that for 22 cars now. Weird, inconsistent penalties are sometimes made up on the spot. Penalties during races giving 22 laps after the incident had taken place because the stewards just couldn't keep up. These issues always lead to races being hampered, and it screws drivers and teams over. Now, it's as bad for all drivers and teams alike, but we know what the F1 space is like when a popular driver doesn't win due to an alleged mistake by the FIA. And then there's the technical side. It's 2 more cars to check and scrutinize on an organization that is already overwhelmed at times. All this load they are carrying will be heavier from 2026. Prepare to do a lot of complaining at the FIA because they'll be completely up to their eyeballs. And I don't think they can handle it. The next downside is the tracks. Some are already too narrow for 20 cars. Let's add another 2, shall we? I don't think the racing will improve with 2 more huge cars on the many street tracks. Remember when half the grid couldn't set a time in Monza during qualifying because they didn't make it to the line in time for a last fast run? Yes, that plus 2 more cars impeding during qualifying will be a bigger issue. Do you think blue flags are annoying? Well, there will be more of them. Where I pointed out that having more talent on the grid was a good thing earlier, I have to say now that knowing what teams are like, they could pick 2 nice pay drivers in a package that won't be fast from the start and will be in the way a lot at the back of the grid. They might be very crash happy, like Logan Sargent or Nicholas Latifi. Although I didn't mind GoTV crashing that one time. So yeah, I'm predicting a lot of chaos and preventable nonsense. The plan to have more teams is noble and ambitious, but some departments already struggle with 20 cars. Adding more is not a good idea, really. Now, I don't want to be a party pooper, okay? I thought long and hard about this, and I spoke with some F1 friends about this. I have thought of something that will make you happy again. A surprise benefit. All this chaos I just described will lead to something. After many delays and angry teams and fans, the FIA will need to step it up. It will force the FIA and the teams to sort out all these issues. We want smaller cars. Why? Because racing these boats is impossible with so many cars on track. We want lighter cars and simpler engines with more power and no battery. Well, these things can all grow out of the mess we will have in the first years with more cars. I've heard Martin Brundle talk about getting rid of blue flags, so maybe that will happen. Maybe they'll get a team of regular stewards in with a proper wage to make correct and swift decisions. The FIA and FOM don't get along very well. This relationship will strain if the sport gets weird for a while. The FOM will be riding the FIA to get it all sorted once and for all. Nothing forces you to get inventive more than being under pressure all the time. A diamond is forced under pressure too. Just like in Jurassic Park, nature will find a way. Will we complain? Of course. Will I make a ton of videos about it? Does a bear shit in the woods? Are you gonna subscribe? Take care now. Doei doei.